The Boeing 767-300, including its longer-range ER variant, has seen close to 700 airframes produced. There are another 250 or so 767-300 freighters as well. Airframes of this size are on the upper end of what is considered to be the middle of the market for commercial passenger aircraft, filling that gap between the longest narrow bodies and the shortest wide bodies. With Boeing unlikely to produce a middle-of-the-market aircraft anytime soon, it leaves us wondering what would be the best aircraft to replace 767-300s as they age out of service. There are a few options, all less than ideal, but let's take a look at them for today's video. Of course, let's first go over the specifications and capabilities of the 767-300 and -300ER, with a primary focus on passenger capacity. Both of these variants are equally sized, with the -300ER having the ability to carry more fuel. When it comes to passenger capacity, Boeing's document titled 767 Airplane Characteristics for Airport Planning notes that the airframe has an FAA exit limit of 290 passengers. The document states that maximum capacity can be boosted to 299 with the addition of a second overwing exit door. Usable fuel for the -300 is 16,700 US gallons or 63,216 litres, while it's 24,140 US gallons for the -300ER, or 91,380 litres. Range will vary with engine choice, seating configuration, payload, etc., but another document from Boeing states that the -300ER has a maximum range of over 11,000 kilometres, or nearly 6,000 nautical miles. Airlinesinform.com lists the less popular -300's maximum range as 9,700 kilometres or 5,238 nautical miles. So, with these characteristics in mind, how do the newest jets from Boeing and Airbus compare? Well, we might as well start off with Boeing, since it's the creator of the 767. The American plane maker's longest narrow body is the 737 MAX 10. No, it's not certified or in service at the time of making this video, but hopefully in the next few years it will be. This narrow-body jet has a maximum seating capacity of 230 and a published range of 3,100 nautical miles or 5,740 kilometers. We couldn't find an FAA exit limit, but it shouldn't be too much higher than the listed maximum seating capacity. Despite gains in engine efficiency, the longest 737 MAX would have only about half the range of the -300ER and about 60% of the -300, all the while carrying 60 fewer passengers at its maximum capacity. On the other side of Boeing's offerings is its smallest Dreamliner, the 787-8. As per Boeing documentation, this shorter wide-body has an exit limit of 381 seats. The combination of advanced engines and mostly composite airframe gives this aircraft a published range of 13,530 kilometers or 7,305 nautical miles. And so, for the 787-8, we can see that it has roughly 30% more passenger capacity than the 767-300 and about 25% more range. Thus, it's clear from these first comparisons just how uniquely sized the 767 has been in Boeing's commercial aircraft lineup, something that vanished when passenger 767 production ended in 2014, with the final delivery going to Kazakh carrier Air Astana. But what about European arch-rival Airbus? What does it have on offer? The plane maker's longest narrow-body is the A321neo, which has a maximum capacity of 244 passengers. Should an airline wish to sacrifice cargo capacity for range, then the A321XLR would have a maximum published range of 8,700 kilometers or 4,700 nautical miles. In terms of both passenger capacity and range, it's certainly closer to the 767-300 and -300ER's capabilities than the 737 MAX 10, but not so close that it could be considered a true replacement. And then on the other side is the shortest member of the A330neo family, the highly unpopular A330-800. Airbus states that the jet has a maximum capacity of 406 seats, while range is about 15,100 kilometers or 8,150 nautical miles. With even more capacity than the 787-8, it is again less than ideal as a replacement. From our examination of the options available, it's further confirmation that the 767-300 is in a class of its own. If we had to choose, we'd say that the Airbus A321XLR comes the closest as a narrow body, while the 787-8 is the closest when it comes to wide bodies. Not that airlines would care as much about passenger seating preferences, but when it comes to typical layouts, the A330-800 would come the closest with its common 242 configuration. Yes, one 787-8 configuration with Japan Airlines is 242, but Dreamliner operators more often squeeze in that extra seat to make it a less comfortable 333. The lack of a true 767 replacement has forced airlines to choose from these less than perfect options available. As a result, they're either losing capacity and range capabilities with a narrow body, or they might be forced to fill more seats than is ideal in the operation of a wide body. And what does this look like in the real world? Well, while Japan Airlines continues to hang on to most of its 767-300 fleet, its 787-8s are used to operate similar routes. TUI's small fleet of 767-300s have been retired, and the airline now has 787-8s filling a similar role. Over in Germany, Condor's 767 fleet has been replaced in recent years. On the larger end, the airline has gone for the A330-900, but it also operates a fleet of A321neos. And then in the United States, United Airlines and Delta Airlines continue to hang on to their respective fleets of 767s, both the -300ER and the less common -400ER. Despite these jets being on the older end, both carriers see the value of having aircraft of this size, particularly as new aircraft delivery delays persist. Meanwhile, American Airlines did operate a significant fleet of 767s, but retired its last 17 airframes in 2020 due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. And in terms of replacements, both American and United operate the A321neo and 787-8. Meanwhile, Delta will have to decide between the A321neo and the A330-900. It does have the A330-200, but of course these are from the previous generation and will eventually be phased out as well. With its all-Airbus wide-body fleet, the A330-800 seems to look more appealing, but the airline has thus far stayed away from the jet. And finally, Iceland Air is an interesting upcoming case when it comes to replacing the 767. Speaking with Simple Flying, the airline CEO Bogi Nils Bogason notes that the wide-body jets will be active for the next few years, but that he will soon be analysing the future of Iceland Air's wide-body fleet and network. That is something that we're going to look into and work on in the next few months, he says. When asked whether a new wide-body aircraft order was coming, Bogason admitted that it was on the table, saying, "It is possible. Yes, everything is possible. It's too early to say now. We will be operating the 767 for a few more years and then decide on what will replace that." So, if you were the CEO of an airline with an aging fleet of Boeing 767-300ERs, what aircraft type would you select to replace them? Would you opt for more long narrow bodies to match the lost capacity, or perhaps fewer new wide bodies? Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.